Well, it's great to see a lot of our existing clients and partners here. We see quite a few new faces as well. Thanks again for showing up. I'm just going to start by giving everyone just a run through on who Landis is. I know many of you are familiar with us, but for those that aren't, we'll give just kind of an overview here. So we're a technology company located here in Eastern Pennsylvania, in the U.S. We're a gold Microsoft partner. We have a very long and deep relationship with Microsoft, and we focus on developing solutions that fit into Microsoft communication platforms. Pretty specific, but it's something that we've focused on. We started this back in the OCS Link era, and then of course Skype for Business. Many of you are familiar with our products in Skype for Business, and now obviously as we transition to Microsoft Teams. A lot happening with development for Teams, but focusing on those areas that Microsoft either does not address completely or does not address well. We have products designed to fit in so that as you're transitioning to a Teams environment internally, you feel like every part of your environment is taken care of and every user has the right tools in front of them. As you see there, we do have our products deployed globally. As we saw in the chat here before the meeting started, we have people joining from around the world. We have a wide network of partners as well that resell the Landis products. Okay, so just a few, before we get into the nitty gritty of the product, just a few design principles that I want to highlight. And these are really the same for all the Landis products that we designed, but the Attendant console is no exception. First and foremost for us is simplicity. It needs to be simple, clean, straightforward. It needs to be simple to purchase, simple to set up, and obviously it needs to be straightforward and easy for your end users to operate. So every UI design, every new feature add, everything that we add to the product has to pass that simplicity test. That's very important to us. Familiar look and feel is also very crucial. As you're training your users on the Teams platform, you don't want to have to retrain them and introduce yet another piece of software, yet another user interface and platform that they need to learn. The idea is that this blends completely with the Teams user experience, and ideally your users will operate the product without realizing they're using anything other than just straight Teams functionality. Powerful list of features, and many of you are familiar with Attendant Pro, our current Attendant console product, and a lot of the features that it has, and we're introducing many of those into a Teams product as well. One-click call transferring is the core of what a receptionist needs, the ability to easily answer calls, finding contacts quickly that they're looking for, shortcut buttons and shortcut keys, among others. So a powerful list of features that allows the reception user to remain incredibly efficient. It also blends in, because this is fully Microsoft native, it blends in with the rest of the Office 365 suite of products. And it just blends completely with the workflow for those users. And as we said, just completely integrated with their day-to-day experience. And lastly, this is built on top of trusted Teams calling. No gimmicks with call routing, no transferring calls out through some other service, no porting numbers to a different destination. It is truly using Teams calling, and it's a solution that just plugs into your Teams environment and delivers those functionalities that your reception users are missing. So as simple and straightforward as we can possibly get it. So just a few things before we jump into the demo, just a few things that I'll highlight on the product. First of all, we want to reiterate that this is built on Microsoft Teams for Microsoft Teams. We're not bringing an old system, a legacy system, or anything like that, and trying to shoehorn it into a Teams offering. This is built from the ground up on Microsoft's APIs and built on top of Teams calling. So it is designed specifically for this era of user to use it inside of Teams. It's something that we've given a lot of time and attention to. As you see there, it does not require SBC or direct routing integration. Whatever Teams calling scenario you have in place in your environment will be just fine. We're not porting numbers to our side. We're not connecting this to the environment and routing traffic through it. This is something that is fully immersed within your Teams environment. Globally available, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And the app runs on common platforms, so you have the potential, you have the ability for it to be, just a part of their standard workflow, something they can have alongside of Teams, allows them to be efficient and allows for that multitasking. And one of the very, very crucial parts of this is we call it drop dead easy initial setup experience. And this is very important. A lot of you are familiar with Attendant Pro and how easy it was to download, install, sign into Skype for Business you had to do, and it was overlaid Skype for Business, pretty straightforward. We found a way to make it even simpler, which is really exciting. We wanted to be a one-click setup and install as well. So it's simply a matter of signing in with a Teams user, giving the app permission, and you're ready to start taking calls. And then from that point on, obviously, it's just a matter of signing in with a Teams user and taking calls. So incredibly basic, incredibly straightforward, not a lot of complexity, and it's something that, the learning curve with this, we expect to be almost non-existent. If someone's familiar with Teams, they can sign in with a Teams user, and they'll have an attendant console that they can easily operate with little to no training. We'll see more on that in the demo here. This is designed to be an ideal part of the Microsoft Teams family. Many of you have these solutions in your environment already, or perhaps contemplating the switch to these types of solutions. The Teams user interface with clients for PC and mobile, Teams certified devices, handsets, room systems, and Landis Attendant Console will be a very integrated part of that whole platform. So once again, introducing this to your environment should feel completely natural. It should blend in with everything else that is going on. And obviously other Teams certified devices like presence indicators, headsets, and so on. Okay, and obviously a lot of you, I know this has been quite a journey waiting for the needed APIs, and we'll talk a little bit more about timeline and what's expected next here in a moment. But a lot of you have been waiting for a long time, so without further ado, I think we'll let you take a look at it. So I'm gonna throw it over to Wendell Martin. Wendell is our head of sales here at Landis, and he is gonna take a moment to give us a little demo of how this works and let you see it in action. So Wendell, go ahead, take it away.
Okay, this is exciting. Finally get to show everybody what we've been working on for so long. So I'm going to just give a real quick typical transfer, and then we'll go through a little bit more and explain it. So call comes in, I answer it. They want to talk to demo user 05, one click, and it's transferred. And I can come over here on my other demo machine and pick that up. So there's the famous one-click transfer. And as Paul pointed out, we try to do everything simple. We try to keep everything easy, and the setup, the sign in, and the transfer is all super simple. So we're excited to have this finally in front of everybody. So before I go on with all the other different options we have, I want to show you a little bit what the layout, what the design is here. So I'm going to bring another call in so I have all the things on the screen here. You'll notice one thing is all these icons, the colors, the layout, it all very much looks like Teams, just designed very much to look part of Teams because it is part of Teams. Even down to the icons are using the fluent UI that Teams uses, and it's up to date with what Teams is doing. So as Teams changes things, this is up to date as well. And so it makes it so that the receptionist, the operator, the attendant, whoever's using this feels comfortable with it, feels totally familiar with it. It's not some different learning curve that they have to go through. Notice, of course, the images of the different contacts and the presence. Paul's in Do Not Disturb, Jonathan's available, Derek's busy. It shows all the Teams presence right in there. So you can
Wendell,
see at a glance. Yes.
So I'm going to pause you just for a second. Maybe just share your screen again. I can see your screen share, but there's some people mentioning that they're unable to see the screen share. So maybe just quit the presentation and reshare it, just to make sure.
Let me see what is causing that. Give it a try.
Yeah, you could maybe turn your video off just to make sure.
Now that should be back on.
Yep, it looks like it's showing up in the meeting there. I'm not sure if everyone can see it, but go ahead.
Okay, good. And yeah, if there's a lot of people that can't.
Yeah, it looks like we're good now. Go ahead.
Good deal. So I think I was saying about how it looks right like Teams and then no extra learning curve. And you'll notice a lot of that stuff as I go through, you'll be able to see the presence, see the people, see the design elements that make it look like and feel like it's part of Teams, because that's where it is. It's inside of Teams. So, okay, let me go through again. Let me just hang this up and bring another call back in to kind of go through more slowly, step by step, how this call is going to go. So, of course, bring a call in, and in this case, I'm going to answer it using a hotkey I have set up as F6. Answer that call, and I keep hitting mute because it's on the same computer as my meeting here, and it's I keep hearing myself. So, call comes in. Hello, whatever. Who do you want to talk to? They want to talk to 05. So it is automatically already pre-selected on blind transfer, so I don't have to click on anything. It's automatically in my preferred transfer mode. And now all I have to do is go over here, and a single click transfers that to Teams Demo 05, to this contact. Notice on the bottom of the screen, it's saying that I'm transferring it to Teams Demo 05. And once I answer it, so now I answered it, and then it goes away. So it lets you know what's happening with that call. As soon as the user answers it, it indicates that was taken care of. So that's one of the most popular transfers, of course, is the blind transfer. Send it off, and it goes to voicemail or whatever. You know, they pick it up, goes to voicemail, but it's off of your list there. Now I'm going to show you if you need to talk to that person first. So again, I'm going to answer this call, and they want to talk to demo user 05. In this case, I'm going to add a participant. So I could have this set as my default, but in this case, blind is my default. So I have to click on this, come over here, and now I am calling, or I'm pulling Teams Demo 05 into this conference call. And so as soon as he picks up, now I have 3 people in here. I can say, hey, 05, 04 called for you again. Do you want to, here's what we talked about. And then I can drop out, and they're still connected and talking. So that's the way I can do a warm or a consult type transfer. So that's another option we have. And one other option I want to show off here is the safe transfer. One of the popular transfer types that is used for, you don't need to talk to the person that you're transferring to for any reason, but you want to make sure it doesn't go to voicemail, or make sure somebody takes care of this. So there I select safe transfer, and 04 and 05 must have some big project going because they keep talking to each other. But now I'm going to transfer it to Teams Demo 05, and they're not available. So I'm going to cancel that. And notice before I do that, down here it says safe transferring to them. When I reject that, it says failed transfer. So the receptionist can see 05 was not available, 04 needs to talk to somebody, we got to transfer him to somebody else. And then they can pull it back and say, hey, I'm sorry, he wasn't available. Would you be able to talk to somebody else and do what, or answer the question, or whatever you want to do from there. So we have that safe transfer, we have the blind transfer, of course, and we have that joining the conference to make a consult transfer type thing there as well. So another thing that is very important for a busy receptionist is multiple call handling. How does that work? So I'm going to bring 2 calls in now, and you're going to have a stack of calls here. And I can answer one. And I want you to notice what happens when I go to answer the second call. 1 click, it automatically puts that existing call on hold. and I'm now live with the other call. And as they're on the list here, I can pick which caller I want to grab first, put them on hold, or answer the second one, automatically puts the first one on hold, and I could keep doing that as more calls come in. And of course, I can have multiple calls on hold and pick off whichever one I want. Now, one of the things that can happen with either a hotkey, with here I'm saying F8 is what I have set to, and I'll show you the keyboard shortcuts in a bit. F8 is what I have set to pull it off of hold. So when I go to pull 04 off of hold, it automatically does the toggle and puts the other person on hold. So with one key press, I can switch to the other call that I want to grab there, or with one button press as well. So very efficient multi-call handling, and then you can take care of the one call and pick the other one up, take care of that transfer or whatever, and that's how it does multi-call handling. So a whole list of calls can come in, whole list of people can be on hold, and you can be handling one call at a time, of course, for the live call. So multi-call layout options. As I don't know, I have it zoomed in a little bit here for the meeting to make it a little bit easier on your side to see, and you can do that. You can zoom it in or zoom it out, whatever you want. You can adjust things to arrange the sizes the way you want it, but we also have built in a layout configurator that you can pick. Actually, I like the 4-panel, and I'm going to apply that one. So now it made a 4-panel thing, and so my search here, let me look up my demo users in the middle here. Here's my sales and service department. And so I have it just arranged a little bit different, where we have more room for this area at the bottom. So for instance, this area at the bottom then can be used to see details on the person, and I'm going to expand this just a little bit. I can see their schedule, I can see the org structure, and I can actually transfer to somebody right down in this one. If it's a direct report or manager there, you can do that as well. So layout presets, and also custom layouts can be set up as well to get it exactly the way you want it. So I'm gonna go back to the way I had it here, bring up my demo users, and up here at the top is just searching for any user in the environment by first, last name, whatever you want to search for here. That brings them up here, or you can have your groups over here as far as how that is set up, and of course moving things around. So layout options. Another thing that I want to show you is this menu here. Let me bring another call in. This menu here gives me more options, so I can transfer to mobile, work, whatever the different options. But what I really want to show is this callback reminder. That was a very popular thing in our other product, the Attendant Pro for Skype for Business. This proved to be very useful for people. So with one click, and it popped up on the other screen here. With one click, it brings up this email already pre-made, says, hey, Paul, this person called at this time, they want you to call back. I can type in a note or do whatever I need to do there as far as giving more of a message. Let me do that again. I don't have to type anything in there. You just do callback reminder, send, and that's all the information Paul knows. I can tell, hey, 04, I passed that message on, Paul. We'll be getting back to you when he gets a chance, and hang up. Everybody knowing it's taken care of. That's another popular feature that people love. So I showed you the schedule and org chart down here that you can have. Hotkeys. That's one thing that we didn't discuss yet. Keyboard shortcuts. You can set these to whatever you want, and I'll just demonstrate a call coming in, and I'll use the hotkeys to do a few different things there. So keyboard shortcuts, in this case, you notice my mouse is down here in the middle. I'm going to press F6, which is what I have set to call pickup. I can put it on hold by pressing F7, pull it back by pressing F8, and I think it's F10. Yeah, F10 to hang it up. So, and you can set those to whatever you're used to. It doesn't have to be what we're using here. You can go with whatever you were normally using. Another thing to point out here is that there's a voicemail icon. I have a voicemail waiting for me. Somebody had called in earlier and left a voicemail. And so it's an indication there that I have a voicemail waiting. So that's a quick overview. Again, the one-click transfer. So in this case, I'm going to press F6 to answer that call, and one click, and it's off to Teams Demo 05, and he can pick that up to complete the call. So rapid, easy to use, one-click transfer. Paul, Matt, anybody else on here? Is there anything I missed that I should be showing here? I'm going to assume that's a no.
That covers it.
That's fun to show it off again, or show it off to the public for the first time. We're excited about this. Paul, I'll let you take it over with some more details that you have to talk about there.
Okay. Thanks, Wendell. Appreciate that. Yeah, it does feel good to finally show people what we've been up to. So just to kind of highlight the user interface. Again, coming back to simplicity, clean, modern, and uncluttered. That's really what we're going for. Something that they can, you saw the hotkeys, the way it operates with hotkeys, something that a receptionist can just stay on top of incoming call traffic, easily find who they're looking for. Not extra clutter, but everything they need is right in front of them. And of course, the flexibility to operate this from anywhere, using any team certified device, really a flexible and powerful platform. Okay, now the $1 million question is, when is this going to be available? I know that is what everyone is wondering. So let's talk through a little bit of the timeline. So we want to be clear that we're not, this meeting is not to announce product availability, but rather we thought it was time to show you exactly what we have, what we've been building, but also to point out that there are a few components of the APIs that we're still waiting on. So Microsoft has communicated that the APIs that this is built on will be in preview here within the next, they said early Q2. We're in good communication with them, and we're anticipating this within the upcoming weeks here. The APIs will fully be released and in hand. From that point on, we'll obviously be able to enable it for teams and finish the final pieces of the design. And we aim to have a beta attendant console that to demonstrate, and also for testing, that you can test in your own environment shortly after the preview APIs are available. So again, just to reiterate, we're going to get APIs here fully within the next several weeks, and we expect within a month of that time that we'll have a beta product available. So yeah, the idea is that you can put it in your environment, you can start testing it, playing around with it. Now, obviously at that point, those APIs will still be in preview from Microsoft, and we are obviously not able to release a product for public GA until those APIs that it's built on have been completed and supported from Microsoft's side. Microsoft is estimating a 3-month period from the time they preview the APIs to they publish that and support them. And so in that 3-month period, as I mentioned, we'll have the beta available. And then as soon as they publish those APIs, shortly after, we'll be able to go to a to a GA product. I just put myself beside here so you can see that. So that's what it's looking like. I know, obviously everyone would prefer that they could download and use it today. It's been, as I mentioned, it's been a long time coming. We've been very diligent in designing the right attendant console, and one that is built truly inside of Teams. And part of that means that we need to work with Microsoft and use their APIs, and finally we're getting what we need to move forward. So we're almost there. We appreciate everyone's patience. I know a lot of you have been reaching out, and our existing customers have been, highly anticipating this. We'll be, communicating the best we can as we go through this process. But hopefully within the near future here, you can start testing this in your own environment. All right, I'm going to throw that to Matt Landis now to just kind of go over some of the functionality that we currently have and what's coming. Matt Landis is our CEO. and obviously a driving force behind a lot of the design and the planning for this product. So Matt, go ahead and fill us in on what we have planned here.
Yeah, well, it's really exciting to see everyone here. And one of the things, a lot of questions around what's here now and what's coming. So what we did is we have a slide here, and I'm not going to go over each and every item, but I did see a trend as we were going through the demo of some questions. So in the purple side, those are things that we have coded and done now. And some of the things that we are waiting, obviously, we're waiting on the API to enable it so you can sign in as a Teams user, which is we expect very, very shortly. Some of the other things that are coming shortly and is things like set presence. We expect that to be quite shortly as well. There was questions about call pop or caller information. That's not something that's dependent on API. We're planning to do that just as soon as we can. I think there was a bunch of questions about external contacts or importing contacts that aren't in the Azure Active Directory. That's another thing that's definitely top of mind. We also had a feature in Attendant Pro called IM Consult Transfer. It's essentially like an IM Park that we would really like to implement as well. There were questions about stats and reporting. That's something we'd like to do. And there was quite a few questions around call queue, being able to control the native call queues. This is dependent on Microsoft API. And if they give us something, we really would like to have a Teams native first-party queue call panel, call control panel inside the Attendant console. And as soon as we have APIs to do that, we will do that. And another thing is it does not require Landis Contact Center to use Attendant console. This is made to work with Teams first-party queues or no queues at all. But we also, if you have Landis Contact Center, we will light up a panel inside Attendant console. There were questions about consult transfer. That is we're dependent on an API, which Microsoft has communicated it will come. So we're looking forward to doing consult transfer. Transfer to voicemail is another item that we currently do not have the API, but Microsoft has communicated that that's coming, and also music on hold. So those are things we will do the instant we get the API, and those have been communicated that they will come. Of course, we're dependent on Microsoft, but we expect that they will deliver on that. The one that we haven't had 100% communication is on the native queues and what we'll all be able to do. So what's now and what's coming, we're hoping to just move as fast as we can. We'd really like to bring this as shortly as we can because we know there's a lot of interest. So take it away, Paul.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, thanks. And just to reiterate, you mentioned this can be used independently. It does not require Landis Contact Center in any way. There are a number of our Landis Contact Center clients here in the call as well. If they do have Landis Contact Center, what are some of the features that can be enabled in the Attendant console? What are some of the features that we can light up in Attendant Pro?
Yeah, what we will light up very shortly is things like signing in and out of queues you're a part of and getting statistics, live statistics, like how many calls are in the queue and things like that. So yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so the next big question, and I hope you appreciate this slide because it took a long time to design. The price. We try to keep it simple. So this is what we're anticipating from a price standpoint. This is simply a SaaS product, monthly subscription. There are no deployment fees. There are no upfront license key expenses. There's no annual support. It is boiled down to a simple monthly subscription of $95 per user. And that's really all there is to that. I mean, we'll, feel free to reach out, let us know what your needs are. We can get quotes, as we get closer to GA, we can certainly get a quote specifically for your environment. But a very, very simple approach, easy to manage, something that you can easily scale up and down your license count as needed as you add or subtract users in your environment. So very simple and very straightforward. And just to touch briefly, I know we do, as I mentioned, we do have a lot of our customers in the call here that currently operate Attendant Pro. Landis Attendant Console is a brand new product. Attendant Pro is continuing to be operational. That will continue to be support. So if you're on that product and you're not ready to move, there's no worries, that we'll continue to support Attendant Pro. We will have some offers for those that wish to switch from Attendant Pro to Landis Attendant Console for Teams. And one of the key features there being switching away from the Skype for Business to Teams. We will, for those customers that are currently on support of Attendant Pro, you will be able to operate the product free of charge until your support has expired for the current product up to 1 full year. So we want to make that transition as clean and simple and straightforward as possible. And once again, feel free to reach out. We'll answer any questions that people have on that. Also, as I pointed out at the top of the call, we do have a nice network of partners around the globe, and I know some of our partners are in the call here as well. We do have a great partner program. We value the partnerships that we've been able to build around the world, and we're happy to support as you offer this. And again, as you interact with your clients, making sure that you have the tools to help them fully migrate to Teams and have everything they need as they do so. We're happy to support those opportunities, and there's a lot of support that we can offer. And as we go along here, we are planning maybe more of a partner focused session where we can, just answer any questions that our partners would have. Okay, and then future looking. Basically, as we mentioned, we're not announcing the product availability here today. That's coming soon. Obviously, we'll make this recording available for everyone that has registered. And again, I know some of your colleagues may not have been able to get in. The meeting looks like it filled up, but the recording will be made available. You can go to our website, the Landis Technologies website, and if you haven't done so already, you can sign up for updates there. And as soon as we have a beta product available, or when we have a release date for that beta product, we will be communicating that with all of you and welcoming you to join the beta program and start testing the product. Oops, I clicked on the wrong slide. Let's finish with some Q&A. And I think we have been addressing some of these questions in the chat. But one of the questions that we saw going past there is direct routing. Fully supports direct routing, no issues there. Microsoft calling plans, PSTN call. It doesn't matter, really. It doesn't matter. It doesn't require that direct routing SBC to integrate. It's fully plugging into your Teams calling experience that you have. Does it require Teams client? No, the Attendant Console is a full client, so it's a full operational client. If your reception users prefer to operate only with the Attendant Console, they're more than welcome to do that. Obviously, they can have a Teams client open for other collaboration, but it is not dependent on the Teams client. That's one of the things that's different from the Attendant Pro that we had for Skype for Business. That did rely on the Skype client. This will be built a little bit separately. Transfer to voicemail, very crucial feature, obviously, for receptionists. This is something that we are waiting on an API to enable. It's certainly on our roadmap, and it is on Microsoft's roadmap as well to enable that in the APIs. We don't have really more detail than that. It certainly will be there eventually, hopefully sooner rather than later, but that is something that we're waiting on in the APIs. Call parking, we get occasionally. That is dependent on Microsoft.
Hey, Paul,
Again,
on
voicemail,
just a quick adjustment to that. Transfer to voicemail should be is soon on the roadmap. I don't know what you had said there. My attention got distracted, but it's fairly soon on the roadmap. So trying to give a little sense so people know, but I would expect that one fairly soon.
Yeah, that's a pretty core level request, and that's something that they're working on. So hopefully in the very near future here. Call parking, maybe not their first priority. We may see it as we go along. We've kind of seen over the last number of years, environments seem to be shifting away from a parking type mentality. One of the things that we will be integrating with with our product is the IM consult transfer, as we have the APIs to do that, and that is really designed to be more of a modern call park. So essentially, what that allows a receptionist to do is put a call on hold, and instead of intercom type systems in most environments, that's not really applicable anymore. It would be an IM that would pop up for them that says, hey, do you want to take a call? This is who's on the line. Press 1 to accept, press 2 to send it to your voicemail, that type of thing. So that will be integrated as we go along here. As far as a true call parking where they would have to dial an extension to pick it up, it's possible. It depends on what they have planned. At this point, it's not there, but it may be in the future. Skype for Business end of life. That is coming up. We know that we're getting scary close to the end of life. Potentially could be shifted, but not necessarily. As of right now, I think it's end of July is what they're targeting. We fully plan to be GA and available before then. Again, it's we're anticipating that Microsoft sticks to what they're currently communicating in their timeline, and assuming that rings true, then we do plan to be fully GA prior to the end of life.
Good note there from the chat that I think you said it wrong. That you said on-prem. On-prem will continue for years. Online, Skype for Business Online is ending currently at the end of July. So I'm not sure if maybe you had said that backwards, but we sure hope to have a solution too close to that time, but it'll be around that time.
Yeah, the better time for this would have been about 2 years ago, but this is where we're at. The APIs, as soon as they're available, we're kind of communicating that we're ready to roll when they are. So as soon as they publish those APIs, our turnaround time will be as small as we possibly can get it to get this into your hands before there's any end of life concerns there with Skype Online. On-prem users, as Wendell mentioned, no deadline. You can continue to operate if you're situated on-prem. There's really no rush there. And then call recording. This is a feature that is one of those features that you can enable with the Landis call recording solution. And so we do have a detailed and a policy call recording solution available currently. And this is something that you can enable in your environment. It is not dependent on the attendant console. It's not dependent on contact center even. We have our own Teams recording solution that allows you to assign various recording policies, and that will be able to operate in conjunction with the attendant console. So if call recording is a need for your reception users, for your attendant users, that is something that is there and able to be plugged in. Was there anything else that we should be addressing in the Q&A before I move on here, Matt or Wendell?
There was a lot of things going past here on the chat. We're going to have to be able to wrap up some of those later and get back. But that's the only ones. I know I saw somebody complain they get a new message every 3 seconds. You can't keep up. That's about where we're at. But I think that's the main ones. I think we'll have to follow up individually on some others and stuff like that. So. Yeah,
and there will be more specifics. I mean, obviously, as we get closer to, the APIs fully published or fully previewed from Microsoft, and as our beta version becomes available, we'll be able to refine a few things, clarify a few things. So we'll keep you in communication. There'll be more details coming, and we want to make sure everyone is informed, but also everyone gets it as soon as possible. One last thing that I want to address just before we close out here, and I know I had an hour and a half reserved. I don't think we'll need all that time, but I just want to cover a brief piece of information on the Landis contact center for Microsoft Teams. I know a lot of you have asked about that, and there's some customers that are currently using that in the call here, so I just wanted to make sure we update you on where that's at. This is a platform that we have built fully on top of Microsoft's communication APIs, and this is a product that is currently available that you can plug into your environment. You can start testing. Once you've tested it and you feel like it's a good fit for your environment, it's something that you're welcome to purchase and deploy. So just to give you an overview, of the products and features that make up the Landis offering. So if you think of it as a platform that has a few different components, there's the contact center, which would deal with skills-based routing, advanced call queues, detailed reporting, wallboards, analytics, live listen-in, those types of features that are standard in a contact center. All of those are being delivered by Landis Contact Center for Microsoft Teams. And again, this is fully plugged into a Teams environment. Same with our contact center, as it is with the attendant console. We're not routing traffic through our side. We're able to deliver all these features right inside of your Teams environment, utilizing your Teams calling. There's the IVR piece as well. And the IVR piece sits on the front end, and it serves as an upgrade to Teams Auto Attendant, and can deliver some more sophisticated routing logic, such as data dips into a CRM to route calls to a certain queue based on that data dip, or even self-service scenarios where it can retrieve information from a database and read it back to the caller. So perhaps they could have their question taken care of without needing to talk to a contact center agent. Then there's the recording policy, or the policy recording tool that I just mentioned. Once again, obviously you can enable call recording for any contact center user. You can enable call recording for any attendant console user. But the solution can be deployed as its own piece of software. So if you did not have a contact center, if you don't have an attendant console, that's fine. You can just enable call recording for any user in your environment and have the flexibility to centrally manage search recordings, give access to certain users to listen to recordings and all of that. So a simple, flexible Microsoft Teams recording solution. And then the attendant console, as we've been discussing, as the APIs come available, that'll come alongside of our current offerings. So these pieces here, as I mentioned, are available today. If you're interested, I can send you I have a recorded demo that you can look at. You can also download or you can set up your own contact center and start testing in your environment. We follow the same simplicity that we just pointed out with the attendant console. Incredibly easy to get set up and running. And that's something that we typically don't think of with a contact center. Typically, we envision contact centers as pretty lengthy projects and ones that need a lot of customization and so on. But we have really simplified that whole process. And without exaggeration, within a matter of 15 minutes, if that, you could have a contact center plugged into your environment and it taking calls and seeing reports and so on. So incredibly easy to enable the contact center in your environment. Just a few visuals, some of you have likely seen, but nice, clean reports. Again, something that blends right into the Teams application. So your end users just have a tab in their Teams client for contact center, single sign-on with their Microsoft credentials, and they can access the contact center from anywhere. Work from home, remote work, changing offices, changing PCs, devices. It's very flexible. If they can access Teams, they can access the contact center and have everything they need. And as you see here, it just feels like it's part of the Teams offering. If the manager has permissions, they can see analytics and reports. Agents can have their agent panel where they take calls in the contact center and see the calls that are being offered to them. Clean reporting, showing a variety of different reports and everything that is needed for managers. So I know this isn't a contact center demo, but I know we get that question often. And so I just wanted to reiterate that Landis Contact Center is available for testing in your own environment. You can set up your own contact center, start testing. And if we offer that 30-day test period. If you like what you're seeing and you feel like it's a good fit, it is available to purchase and deploy into your environment there. Okay, I think that pretty much covers the agenda that we had for today. I believe, unless Wendell or Matt, if there's anything that I failed to address, I guess we can do that now. But I think that's everything that I have on my list.